जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम, कैसे हैं आप लोग? खैरियत से? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल रमज़ान मुबारक to everyone. Unfortunately, I haven't been well, so we couldn't have any classes. But hopefully I'll be better soon. अभी तो खैर रमज़ान का तो हमने अरेंजमेंट कर लिया है that we are going to have these recorded lectures and activities. But as soon as Ramadan ends, we'll go back to the on-campus regular classes. और जो भी हमारे topics हैं, we'll try to cover few topics in Ramadan, and then we'll take it from there after the Ramadan in regular classes. So since it's an online class, so I will have to share the screen so that you guys can know what we are studying. Usually the students have studied from me. I think most of you have studied from me in online classes. So in offline classes, I usually don't use slides, but when you are on Zoom and in online medium, so you have to use slides. So introduction to entrepreneurship, you guys have already done 3, 4 activities where you have looked at the trends, where you have looked at where you have conceived a business idea in your mind, shared with me that one-page document. Uh, the recent activity that I've given, that is also useful in understanding entrepreneurship and how this thing works. So today we are going to just superficially see what is entrepreneurship and what is the most critical part of entrepreneurship. So अगर हम entrepreneurship की बात करें, just few statistics. So industries with the most startups in 2020, अगर हम 2020 की ही बात करें, so 13% are in business services. जब हम business services की बात करते हैं, so we are talking about consulting, we are talking about uh, all the freelancing services. We are talking about everything that is part of business, from communication, from marketing to finance to management. Everything is a part of business services. Then 13% in retail. Retail का मतलब है एक तो traditional retail like Alfata, Hyperstar, Metro stores. Fashion retailing में आपको निशात, Sapphire, all these brands you see around you. You go to MM Alam Road, you go to DHA, you go to Bahia Town, you see so many brands. Even food retailing is booming. Usually retail को और food retail को इकट्ठा लोग treat करते हैं, but यहाँ पे अलग-अलग treat किया हुआ है. So retailing में online retailing has grown, like companies like ELO, companies like Al Fatah Fabrics, they're growing manifold. So that is all retail growth. Then construction and contracting. पाकिस्तान की अगर हम बात करें सिर्फ, तो पाकिस्तान में जब से कंस्ट्रक्शन को एक इंडस्ट्री की तरह ट्रीट करना शुरू किया गया और रिफॉर्म्स लाए गए हैं, so there's a massive investment in construction. Then residential and commercial services, जहाँ पे आपकी रियल एस्टेट से लेके जो डीलरशिप है, जो रियल एस्टेट डीलरशिप है, जहाँ पे people solicit rental and buying arrangements, वो services, वहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा startups हुए हैं. And then food and beverage across the globe, especially in Pakistan, especially in Punjab, this is one area जहाँ पे लोग कहते हैं कि यार, if you want to invest money, invest in food. पाकिस्तान में जब भी आप किसी बंदे से बात करेंगे, so there are 3, 4 ideas generally in everybody's mind that they would give कि यार, invest in education, invest in food, invest in clothing. So these are the 3 areas where people would say without any feasibility analysis, without any research, just from their gut, if the food business is done right, if the clothing business is done right, if the education business is done right, there is a lot of money in these businesses, and I won't say कि वो गलत हैं. अच्छा जी, एजुकेशनल अटेनमेंट ऑफ एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, बहुत से लोग सवाल करते हैं ड्यूरिंग द एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप कोर्स, ड्यूरिंग द क्लासेस, ड्यूरिंग द ट्रेनिंग्स दैट आई गिव, during the mentorship programs, students ask me, young entrepreneurs ask me, sir, why is that so? You go to Beeden Road, you go to Hall Road, you go to Badami Bagh, you go to Shadman Market, you go to Anarkali Market. So most of the entrepreneurs, especially small and medium entrepreneurs, they are not very educated. So why are we studying? Usually, if you go into their stories and dig into their stories, you would realize that uh, people who have small and medium businesses without education, they had to see a lot of hurdles. But people like you who are studying entrepreneurship, who at least know the basics of uh, how to start the business, they have to see, they have to go through less hardships. They have to face less difficulties in starting their own ventures or businesses. Okay, 31% associate degrees, people with diplomas, people with associate degrees, people with 2 year degrees. 30% are high school graduates, like जिस तरह आप इंशाल्लाह ग्रेजुएट्स होंगे. यहाँ पे हाई स्कूल का मतलब है कि people who have done their bachelors. 18% are with master's degree, 17% with bachelor's degrees, and 4% with doctorate degrees. So यहाँ पे देखें तो 35% का जो एक है, that is from आप लोग हैं शायद यहाँ पे नहीं कि जो स्टूडेंट 4 इयर्स डिग्री को उन्होंने अलग से किया है वो यहाँ पे इसको नहीं ले. हाँ जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम, कैसे आप लोग खैरियत से हैं? Like we were discussing, so let me go to the screen. We were discussing introduction to entrepreneurship. हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि there are 35 ventures. So this back in the days, back in 90s, back in 2000s, this trend was pretty low. Most of the students, when they were asked that what you want to do after you're done with your bachelor's degree or your master's degree or your associate degree, so they would usually say, okay, we will do a job in a bank or a multinational or an international company. But now at least 25% of the students, they do say, sir, we want to start our own business, which is a very pleasant trend, I would say. Okay, moving on. So academic definition of entrepreneurship. What is entrepreneurship? Last time मेरे ख्याल में अगर पहली क्लास में आप लोग मेरे साथ थे तो वहां पे मैंने डिस्कस किया था कि जी entrepreneurship is basically turning an idea into a business. ये एक वेंचर कैपिटलिस्ट का व्यू है, एक इन्वेस्टर का व्यू है, पर्सन हु इन्वेस्ट मनी इन स्टार्टअप बिजनेसेस, उसका व्यू ये होता है कि entrepreneurship is the art of turning an idea into business. जब भी आपके पास कोई आइडिया हो and you can turn it into a practical business, this is entrepreneurship. The process is entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship academic definition भी देख लेते हैं, is the process by which individuals pursue opportunities without regard to resources they currently control. ये definition भी मेरे ख्याल में मैंने आपको लिखवाई थी. So इसमें हमारे पास एक तो word आ गया process. Whenever we read the word process, it means there is something that is ongoing and is always going to happen in a certain sequence. So जब भी हम sequence की बात करते हैं, sequence का मतलब होता है कोई भी चीज जो एक खास steps में की जाए. So जब भी हम sequence की बात करेंगे और ongoing की बात करेंगे या reoccurring की, जो बार बार होगा और जब भी करेंगे वो एक खास सीक्वेंस में होगा, उसको हम कहते हैं प्रोसेस। ठीक है, ये आप याद रखिएगा। उसके बाद वर्ड हमारे पास आ जाता है अपॉर्चुनिटीज। अपॉर्चुनिटीज का मतलब है एनीथिंग दैट हैज अ फेवरेबल आउटकम इज एन अपॉर्चुनिटी। अपॉर्चुनिटी इज समथिंग दैट मे हैव अ favorable outcome. So, entrepreneurship is the process by which you first identify opportunity, then qualify opportunity, and then turn that opportunity into idea, and then further into a business without regard to resources you currently control. इसका रिसोर्सेज क्या हो सकती हैं? फाइनेंशियल रिसोर्सेज हो सकती हैं, ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज हो सकती हैं, आपके पास लोकेशन हो सकती है। सो जरूरी नहीं है कि अगर आपने रेस्टोरेंट खोलना तो आपकी जगह अपनी हो या आपके पास बहुत ज्यादा पैसा हो। यू जस्ट नीड टू हैव एन आइडिया। सो the process by which individuals pursue opportunities without regard to resources they currently control, कि इस चीज को छोड़ते हुए कि यार मेरे पास कितनी रिसोर्सेस है, you just work on the opportunity and try to make it feasible and innovative. If the opportunity or idea is innovative and feasible, you will always find an investor. ये हमारी लास्ट टाइम भी बात हुई थी, and I always say this कि जी पैसे ढूंढना मुश्किल नहीं होता if your idea is good. आइडिया ढूंढना मुश्किल होता है, और कई दफा आइडिया बहुत अच्छा होता है लेकिन उसकी एग्जीक्यूशन उससे भी अच्छी होती है। तो वो हम आगे देखेंगे, कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ अ गुड एंटरप्रेन्योर। कॉर्पोरेट एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप तो हमें समझ में आ गई कि जी इट इज द प्रोसेस ऑफ परसुइंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज without regard to the resources you control, or it is an art of turning an idea into an actual business. तो corporate entrepreneurship क्या है? Corporate entrepreneurship is the conceptualization of entrepreneurship, ये जो पूरा प्रोसेस हमने पीछे देखा है, at firm level. जब आप किसी existing company में when you implement the process of pursuing opportunities, that is called corporate entrepreneurship. Or when you try to come up with new ideas and turn them into a business idea, that is corporate entrepreneurship. I always quote this example, very relevant, and अगर ये उस जमाने में आप लोग होते, you would have related to it. Back in the 90s, one of the marketing managers at Nestle came up with an idea of bottled water. So when he presented this idea in front of the core team of Nestle, people laughed at him and they said, do you think people in Pakistan would buy mineral water, bottled water? यहाँ पे तो कोई ₹1 ना दे, पानी तो मुफ्त है यार, why would somebody pay money to buy and drink water? उसने कहा जी, I think people would buy water. Let me do a small pilot study on airports and railway stations. So primarily his focus was, or his target market was, his target markets were the people who were coming from abroad. So वो एयरपोर्ट पे एक 15 दिन की टेस्ट मार्केटिंग हुई, फिर 15 दिन की टेस्ट मार्केटिंग रेलवे स्टेशन पे हुई, and the results were quite shocking for the rest of the people who were on the board, because the results were very positive. एंड फिर वो उसके आइडिया के ऊपर और मजीद काम किया गया, फिर उसको मिनरल वाटर बनाया गया, बॉटल्ड वाटर का पूरा एक कॉन्सेप्ट आया दैट इट्स अ क्लीन वाटर, एंड देन पीपल started drinking that water. Everywhere you go to polo ground or any park, people will have that bottle in their hand and they will do jogging and walk. फिर डिफरेंट कॉर्पोरेट फंक्शंस में वो बॉटल्ड वाटर्स रखना शुरू कर दी, और वो कॉन्सेप्ट ऐसा ऐसा इतना बढ़ गया कि अब हर घर में बॉटल्ड वाटर का कॉन्सेप्ट है। हालांकि हमसे पहले 20 सदियों तक लोग वही पानी पी रहे थे, बट उस बहस पे हम नहीं जाते कि पानी पहले साफ होता था, पोल्यूशन कम थी, बट whatever the reason is, that is the conceptualization of entrepreneurship at the firm level. So all the firms fall along a conceptual continuum that ranges from highly conservative to highly entrepreneurial. Now there is a certain continuum. Continuum कहते हैं जिस चीज के दो सिरे हों। So इसी तरह जब हम entrepreneurial firms की बात करते हैं या entrepreneurship at firm level की बात करते हैं, so we are looking at one continuum जिसके एक साइड पे तो आपको you will find very entrepreneurial firms, and on the other side you will find very conservative firms. Conservative firms वो होती हैं जो नए आइडियाज और नई अपॉर्चुनिटीज के हंट में नहीं रहती, वो हर वक्त नए आइडियाज के बारे में नहीं सोचती, वो कहते हैं यार जो चल रहा है जैसे चल रहा है उसको चलने दो. द प्राइम एग्जांपल वाज नोकिया. Nokia at one point of time was a very successful company, but it was a conservative company. On the other hand, Apple and Samsung were very entrepreneurial companies. तो वो नए बदलते वक्त के साथ they brought in the new products in the market and they changed the market dynamics with the touch phone and the Android technology and the iOS softwares. But Nokia couldn't keep up the pace with the changing trends. और मुझे से याद है जब last press conference थी, no tears in his eyes, and he said that another example is PIA. PIA for a very long period of time stayed conservative company. They were not very entrepreneurial in finding new opportunities and turning new business ideas into actual business ideas. Same is the case with PTCL. PTCL ने बहुत देर बाद ब्रॉडबैंड इंटरनेट को इतना बेहतर बनाया और बहुत से इश्यूज रहे, बट on the other hand Zong, Mobilink, their internet devices are doing better in terms of revenue than PTCL. हालांकि PTCL के पास इतना बड़ा नेटवर्क भी infrastructure भी available था. So the position of a firm on this continuum is referred to as its entrepreneurial intensity. So हम देखते हैं entrepreneurial intensity का concept है क्या in the next slide. So you have two sides, entrepreneurial firms, conservative firms, that actually define your entrepreneurial intensity. The higher the intensity, the more entrepreneurial you are as a company. The lower the intensity, the lesser entrepreneurial you are as a company. So characteristics क्या होते हैं entrepreneurial firms के? They are very proactive. Entrepreneurial firms are always proactive in their communication, in their thought process, in their product designing, in their product ideas. They're very proactive. अगर आप Indian online market को देखें, so they bought the concept of Flipkart, फिर वो plastic money का पूरा concept ले आए, फिर उनके जो big bazaar type पूरे markets हैं, they're very proactive. पाकिस्तान में अगर हम बात करें proactive approach की, तो Gree and Hire, they were the first companies to actually bring the inverter AC technology. Toyota, on the other hand, is very proactive and brought the hybrid technology in the industry. Kia, Hyundai, Kia मैं कहूँगा, Kia was the first one to bring SUV. CUV basically उसको बोलते हैं, technically तो SUV नहीं है, but SUV category में पहली गाड़ी Sportage line and it became very successful. So proactive. Conservative firms, they take a more wait and see posture. Honda in Pakistan has done this, and with their Honda City, they were very conservative. They took this position कि यार let's wait and see. City चल रही है, बिक रही है. Yaris came into the market, and obviously Yaris sales increased क्योंकि नया मॉडल था और City की sales गिरना शुरू हो गई. फिर Changan brought its car into the market. Proton अपनी गाड़ी ले आया. So there were a lot of competitors in the same segment. And when City brought the years-old shape, जो Honda Grace की shape चल रही थी, वो जब market में आए तो technically it was rejected. जिन लोगों ने booking करवा ली थी, वो तो करवा ली थी. जो लोग कल्टस से, खैबर से, मेहरान से, इन गाड़ियों से City पे आ रहे थे, they were very happy. But generally, people who were driving City already, they were not very happy with this new conservative approach of Honda. Second is innovative. Entrepreneurial firms are always innovative. Look at Samsung, look at iPhone, look at Amazon. These are very innovative companies. अगर हम पाकिस्तान में बात करें तो मैं हमेशा एग्जांपल देता हूँ Sinistar की, that they were so innovative at almost a decade ago. They came up with the idea of IMAX जो पाकिस्तान में, बल्कि उस वक्त तो एशिया में भी कहीं नहीं था. हालांकि इंडियन इंडस्ट्री, बॉलीवुड was so big, but IMAX technology एशिया में पहली दफा Sinistar लेके आया. It was a very innovative move. Or I still know a lot of people who would like to watch movies in IMAX for that experience. Now that experience is something different than the normal movie viewing. मुझे नहीं पता आप लोगों में से कितने लोग फिल्मों के शौकीन हैं. खैर, conservative firms are less innovative. जो conservative firms होती हैं वो कहती हैं यार why do innovation? जैसे चल रहा है वैसे चलने दो. जिस तरह बहुत से ऐसे बड़े बड़े ब्रांड्स हैं पाकिस्तान में who won't do social media marketing, जिनके फेसबुक पेजेस एक्टिव नहीं होंगे, जिनकी गूगल लोकेशन अपडेटेड नहीं होगी, जिनके वर्किंग आवर्स फेसबुक पे या गूगल पे अपडेटेड नहीं होंगे. So they are less innovative because their customers they have to go through a lot of pain. Recently अभी कल मैंने कुछ क्रॉकरी लेनी थी, so I was looking up for Kaka Baba working hours in Ramadan. It was showing 10 to 8. So I went there right after Iftari and it was closed. And finally I realized कि उनके timings 9 से 5 हैं. But packages on the other hand, they update their timings very regularly. और मुझे I knew it from the like a drop of the hat कि उनकी timings कैसे change हुई हैं. So companies who are less innovative, they eventually suffer. Then entrepreneurial firms are risk taking. Obviously, whenever you're doing something new, whenever you're trying to do something innovative, you are taking a risk. So entrepreneurial firms are risk taking, but these risks are not blinded. These risks are not blind. These risks are well calculated. On the other hand, conservative firms are risk averse. ये basically averse होना चाहिए, इधर adverse लिखा हुआ है. It's a mistake. So risk averse होता है वो लोग जो risk बिल्कुल नहीं लेते. ठीक है, ये वही बात है कि आप जब थोड़ी सी उम्र को पहुंचते हैं तो आप पहले ही फुप्पो के बेटे को भाई कहना शुरू करते हैं. दैट इज रिस्क एवर्जन. यार अभी से फुप्पो के बेटे को भाई कहना शुरू कर दो ताकि किसी के ज़हन में कोई ऐसी बात आए ही ना. अगर हमने अभी पीटीसीएल की एग्जांपल दी. पीटीसीएल नेवर टुक द रिस्क कि वो इंटरनेट को अपने बेहतर कर सकें. वो हमेशा हर चीज बहुत लेट करते हैं. ऑन द अदर हैंड अगर आप नेटफ्लिक्स की बात करें, नेटफ्लिक्स टुक द रिस्क. उन्होंने 30 डे फ्री ट्रायल सबको दिया कि जी टेक अ 30 day free trial and then pay for our services, and that worked brilliantly for them. ज्यादातर जो फ्री ट्रायल्स होते हैं वो 3 दिन के या 7 दिन के होते हैं. and those apps they do not go far. Amazon ने तो अपनी ऐप पे as such फ्री ट्रायल बहुत ही छोटा दिया था, but Netflix gave a 1 month free trial. 1 month is enough for any person to actually realize that whether this service is for me or not. अच्छा जी, इसके अलावा आप जरूर messages में once you listen to this lecture do share with me how do you feel which companies are entrepreneurial companies and which companies are conservative companies. Like बहुत सी बड़ी common examples हैं. जिस तरह अगर आप लिप्टन की बात पाकिस्तान में तो बिल्कुल अगर आप कोक की शुगरी ड्रिंक्स शुगर फ्री कोक ले आए तो सही हो गया. किसी ने रिस्क लिया एंड इट डिडंट पे ऑफ बिकॉज मैं बीच में डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया था. सारी बात है वो आपने सुन ली होगी. अच्छा जी, हम किधर थे? हम इधर पहुंच गए थे. अच्छा जी, वेरी क्विकली, व्हाई बिकम एन एंटरप्रेन्योर? So there are three primary. वैसे तो there are multiple reasons. You can write down 20, 25, even 100 reasons to become an entrepreneur. But there are three primary reasons एटलीस्ट ये जितने भी एंटरप्रेन्योर्स दुनिया में उनके पास इसमें से एक रीजन जरूर होगा टू स्टार्ट देयर ओन बिजनेस. नंबर वन, डिजायर टू बी देयर ओन बॉस. देयर आर लॉट ऑफ पीपल हु आर लाइक यार मैं खुद करना चाहता हूँ काम, मेरे से किसी से ऑर्डर्स नहीं लिए जाते. आई जस्ट वांट टू बी माय ओन बॉस, अपनी मर्जी से आऊं अपनी मर्जी से जाऊं, मेरे एक अपना स्केड्यूल हो, मेरा एक अपना ऑफिस हो, किसी को जवाबदेही ना हो, मैं लाख कमाऊं मैं 2 रुपए कमाऊं. आई जस्ट want to be my own boss. So there are a lot of people, आप में से भी कुछ होंगे. Then desire to pursue their own ideas. There are a lot of people who are like, yeah, I want to pursue what is in my mind. I want to pursue my own dreams. I want to pursue my own ideas. I want to work on the opportunities that I have identified. Why should I put all my hard work for somebody's betterment? Why shouldn't I do it for myself? So there are a lot of people who would like to pursue their own ideas. Not everybody is like this, but there's I know a lot of people who are like, yeah, no, the way I can think of the idea and the way I can implement my own ideas, I cannot do it for other people, and other people cannot do it for me. And third, obviously, financial rewards. That there are certain financial rewards associated with having your own business, having your own startup. So most of the people are motivated by financial rewards when they are starting their own business. ये तो इस्लाम भी कहता है कि जी अल्लाह ताला ने कारोबार में 10 जगह रिस्क लिखा है और नौकरी में 1 जगह रिस्क लिखा है. परसेंटेज शायद मैंने इधर उधर कर दी हो, लेकिन इस्लाम भी कारोबार को ज्यादा पसंद फरमाता है, उसमें ज्यादा बरकत है. So characteristics of successful entrepreneurs. ये तो हमें पता चल गया कि entrepreneurship क्या है, corporate entrepreneurship क्या है, why do we become entrepreneurs, but what are the characteristics of successful entrepreneurs? Again, there can be hundreds of characteristics of successful entrepreneurs, like honest, like creative, like credible, like uh, sentimental, emotionally intelligent, and so on. But these are the 4 characteristics that are the most important. कि इनमें से अगर कोई नहीं होगा तो आप सक्सेसफुल नहीं हो सकते. ऐसा हो सकता है आप क्रिएटिव ना हो बट आप बड़े सक्सेसफुल हो एज एन एंटरप्रेन्योर. ऐसा हो सकता है आपके पास टेक्निकल नॉलेज ना हो बट आप बड़े सक्सेसफुल हो. ऐसा हो सकता है कि आप रिलायबल ना हो बट यू आर स्टिल वेरी सक्सेसफुल. बट ये 4 चीजें अगर इनमें से कोई चीज नहीं होगी या कम होगी तो you there are chances that you may not be successful. Number one, passion for business. You cannot succeed at anything unless you have passion for it. Period. Sports may be people who have a certain passion for a certain sport, they become very successful. I always quote an example of Roger Federer and Sachin Tendulkar, not because of the fact कि वो कितने अच्छे हैं या उनसे अच्छा कोई है या नहीं, because of the longevity of their careers. Tendulkar played for almost an eternity, 1989 till 2013, 24 years, and I guess elbow injury जो 6 7 8 महीने वो injured रहा है, उसके अलावा there was no certain injury in his career where he stayed out of the team. He mostly played for India और कोई भी मेजर इंजरीज या मेजर सेटबैक्स उसको नहीं हुए. सेम एज फॉर रॉजर फेडरर. Roger Federer has played at international level, still playing, still not retired. One of my most favorite, 40 41, and he plays like a young boy. So kudos to these two people. That is what passion does for you. Similarly, अगर आप इलॉन मस्क की बात करें तो वो जो पूरा उसने जो गाड़ी शाड़ी बनाई है इलेक्ट्रिक कार, दैट इज प्योरली आउट ऑफ पैशन. वरना लोग कहते हैं यार क्या जरूरत है तुम्हें इलेक्ट्रिक कार बनाने की, इतनी गाड़ियां अच्छी अच्छी हैं तो सही, व्हाई आर यू striving for something innovative? But he kept on pushing himself and his team, and then he came up with this amazing product. Number two is product customer focus. पैशन के बाद जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है वो है प्रोडक्ट कस्टमर फोकस. यू मस्ट नो योर प्रोडक्ट एंड यू मस्ट ऑल्सो अंडरस्टैंड योर कस्टमर. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि यू कीप ऑन वर्किंग योर प्रोडक्ट इन आइसोलेशन and you do not understand your customer needs. Marketing में हमेशा कहते हैं कि try to identify customer needs and then try to fulfill those identified needs. Similarly, अगर आप customer को जानने में सारा time लगा दें लेकिन उसको fulfill ना कर सकें with the product, so then your customer focus is useless. So they go hand in hand. You have to keep a focus on both product and customer, the customer needs, and obviously in order to satisfy those needs you have to keep a focus on your product too. Tenacity despite failure. एक पुराने जमाने में कहानी होती थी, try again. So entrepreneurs जो होते हैं, they are very tenacious. They are not bothered or bogged down by the failure. They do not fear failure. They understand that failure is the process of trying. So successful entrepreneurs वो होते हैं जो एक दफा अगर उनको नुकसान हो जाए तो वो ये नहीं कहेंगे कि यार बस सब कुछ खत्म हो गया. Obviously, अगर आपने, if you have done your homework, if you have done the feasibility analysis, if your business plan is in place, so there are high chances that your failure may not break you like कि आपको 50 करोड़ या 25 करोड़ या पूरे 1 करोड़ का लॉस हो जाए. फेलियर का मतलब ये होता है कि if you anticipated sales of 2 lakh rupees and you got the sales of 50,000 rupees, so it is failure of the strategy. So आप नई strategy बनाएं और आप दोबारा से try करें. So successful entrepreneurs, they are very tenacious and they do not give up despite failures. They keep on trying harder and harder. And you can only do this once you have pure faith in your business idea and opportunity, and that can only be done through feasibility analysis and business planning. Number 4 is execution intelligence. ये बड़ी खूबसूरत चीज है. कई दफा आपका आइडिया बड़ा कॉमन होता है. जिस तरह अगर आप हाउडी की बात करें, बड़ी कॉमन एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं. हाउडी चिकन बर्गर्स हैव बीन देयर फ्रॉम इटर्निटी, लेकिन उन्होंने कॉन्सेप्ट बनाया हाउडी, ब्रांड को एक पर्सनालिटी दी के काउबॉय इमेज होगा, एंड दे ब्रॉट समथिंग न्यू. दे स्टार्टेड प्लेइंग विद द सॉसेस. सो सेम ग्रिल्ड बर्गर को जब उन्होंने सॉस के साथ मिक्स किया तो वो एक डिफरेंट और यूनिक टेस्ट निकला. सो दे थ्राइव्ड ऑन एग्जीक्यूशन इंटेलिजेंस, कि उनकी जो एग्जीक्यूशन थी वो इट वाज बेटर देन द कंपटीशन. Similarly, अगर आप बुंदू खान की बात करें, बुंदू खान I think has thrived on execution intelligence. If you go to Food Street, Lahore, so mostly they thrive on the execution intelligence. उनका taste तो इतना अच्छा नहीं होता. So at times you are executing things better than the competition. Give me an example whenever you can on WhatsApp group या next class में जब भी हम मिलेंगे कि how do you think a brand outclass the other brand on the basis of execution intelligence. मेरे ख्याल में Honda, in terms of their finishing and design, it always outclasses Toyota. मैं Toyota Corolla और Honda Civic के comparison की इस वक्त बात कर रहा हूँ, and that is purely on execution intelligence, that they execute design better than Toyota. अच्छा जी, moving on. अच्छा जी, next slide is, sorry, common myths about entrepreneurs. जैसे common characteristics of successful entrepreneurs, there are some myths about entrepreneurs too. Myth number 1, myth का मतलब होता है झूठी कहानियां, झूठी अफवाहें. So the first myth about entrepreneurs is that entrepreneurs are born, not made. अगर ये वजह होती तो आज ये आप कोर्स ना पढ़ रहे होते entrepreneurship का, leadership का कोर्स ना पढ़ रहे होते. Just leaders are not born, they are made. There are certain qualities you're born with, but there are certain qualities that you have to acquire. So similarly, there are certain qualities that you may have, like creativity. You're born with creativity. Entrepreneurs are creative. You may be risk taker by birth. So entrepreneurs who are risk takers, they thrive more. But at times, persistence, at times you have to learn to be patient. At times you have to learn to be to execute things better. So entrepreneurs are not born. Entrepreneurs are made through training. they can be made through education, they can be made through experience. ज्यादातर जो बहुत से लोग होते हैं जिनका अपने स्टार्टअप्स होते हैं, वो फैमिली बिजनेसेस, वो बहुत छोटी यंग एज से उस बिजनेस पे को देखना शुरू करते हैं, दे स्टार्ट लर्निंग अबाउट दैट बिजनेस and eventually they learn everything about that business, and at a very young age they are ready to take charge. So this pretty much explains that entrepreneurs are made, not born. Yes, there can be an exception if somebody is born with major जिसको आप कहते हैं characteristics of entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs are made. Number two, entrepreneurs are gamblers. Now this is again a very common myth that एक तो common myth ये है कि only you need a lot of money to become an entrepreneur and start a business, number one, and then you put it to luck, you put all the hard work of an entrepreneur on luck के जी, it is a gamble, luck होगी अगर ये चल जाए, luck होगी अगर ये ना चले. There was a student of mine who did MBA and who wanted to become a customized shoemaker. So when he told his family that he wants to make customized shoes, so his family laughed at him and said कि तू मास्टर्स करके मोची बनना सी, तो सानू पहले दस दिंदा असी पैसे ना लाते. But he said कि trust in my idea and ability. मैं मेरे पास लेदर की प्रोक्योरमेंट है, मेरे पास लोग हैं जिनसे मैं खरीद सकता हूँ, और मेरे पास लोग हैं जिनसे मैं जूते बनवा सकता हूँ. I have designs in my head and I've also collected design samples from across the globe. So आप मेरे पे ट्रस्ट करें. आज he has a very successful brand in Pakistan, Choreo Footwear, and he not only makes customized shoes, but वो retail उसके 4 retail stores भी हैं. And now he tells me jokingly कि sir, now my family members come to me and say कि जी ओनू भी रखवा दे, एनू समझा अपना business करे. So things do change. So entrepreneurs are not gamblers. Entrepreneurs usually have a better insight than the normal people, and they go with their gut. एक होते entrepreneurs are very intuitive. Intuitive का मतलब होता है वो लोग जो अपने अंदर की बात को सुनते हैं और उसको फॉलो करते हैं. So intuition, आपने वर्ड सुना होगा. So yeah, entrepreneurs are intuitive, but they are not gamblers. Myth number 3, entrepreneurs are motivated primarily by money. Yes, they're motivated by money, but that is not all they want. And they can be motivated by the respect they get as an entrepreneur. They may be motivated by the amount of power they get by controlling so many human minds, because obviously जब आप entrepreneur होते हैं, people work for you, so you're controlling their mind and effort in a certain direction. So they are not only motivated primarily by money, they can be many other things. जैसे हमने बात की, desire to be their own boss, desire to pursue their own ideas. So there can be multiple things that they are motivated by. Number 4, entrepreneurs should be young and energetic. Again, a myth. जरूरी नहीं है कि आप young age में entrepreneur बने. The owner of KFC became an entrepreneur at the age of 65, 66. Similarly, the owners of McDonald's were not very young. So you need to understand that there is no hard and fast rule that entrepreneurs, if an entrepreneur is young only, then the business is going to be successful. There is no age to become an entrepreneur. Though usually we do promote कि अगर आप young age से अपना business idea को लेके चलेंगे, so there are high chances of getting more fruits out of that business. क्योंकि जब आप एक बड़ी age में करते हैं, so you are not sure how much you can reap out of the fruit you are trying to create. अच्छा जी, उसके बाद आपके पास आ जाती हैं types of startup firms. There are 3 types of startup firms. First is salary substitute firm. वो कंपनी जो लोग बनाते हैं कि यार जितने हम सैलरी से कमा रहे हैं उतने पैसे हम बिजनेस से कमा लेंगे, तो वी आर गुड, हमें किसी की जवाबदेही नहीं होगी, एंड वी आर मेकिंग द सेम अमाउंट ऑफ मनी. So firms that basically provide the owner or owners a similar level of income but they would be able to earn in a conventional job. आपने सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग की या आपने एमबीए की है, अगर आपका कुलीग कुलीग तो नहीं, अगर आपका क्लास फेलो 80,000 लाख रुपया कमा रहा है 2 साल बाद, और आप अपना ऑनलाइन स्टोर खोल के या फ्रीलांसिंग से या फ्रीलांसिंग कंपनी खोल के अगर आप भी लाख 1.5 लाख कमा रहे हैं, सो इट मींस यू हैव अ सैलरी सब्स्टिट्यूट. The second is lifestyle firms. Firms that provide their owners the opportunity to pursue a certain lifestyle and make a living at it. So lifestyle firms are the firms jahan se people they actually try to follow a certain lifestyle कि यार मेरा बहरिया में घर होगा, मैं क्लब में जाऊंगा, आई विल डाइन आउट, मेरे बच्चे अच्छे स्कूल में पढ़ेंगे. जब आप इस तरह के लाइफस्टाइल को when you visualize yourself in a certain lifestyle, so these kind of firms are the firms जो आपको उस lifestyle के लिए means provide करती है, जहाँ पे you are having a certain social circle, you are having a certain financial safety or security. So ये salary substitute firms से थोड़ा सा बढ़ के होती हैं. ये वो companies होती हैं जो आपके lifestyle को maintain करती हैं, but you are not primarily driven by innovation or world class products. You are just driven कि यार आपकी जिंदगी का लाइफस्टाइल एक हाई लाइफस्टाइल हो और आपके बच्चों की और आपकी फैमिली की जिंदगी कदरे बेहतर हो बाकियों से. The third is entrepreneurial firms. Firms that bring new products and services to the market by creating and seizing opportunities regardless of the resources they currently control. So जिस तरह हमने entrepreneurial firms की पहले बात की थी कि they are actually motivated by uh, the opportunities that are in the market, and they try to create and seize opportunities in the market regardless of the resources they control. Similarly, अगर कोई business चल रहा है, उसको order मिला है बहुत बड़ा and they do not have the financial means, so they can always borrow money, fulfill the order and then pay back. So पैसा कभी भी business start करते हुए या business चलाते हुए भी मसला नहीं होता. Again, I tell you that only 21% of the businesses shut down because of lack of financial resources. 79% of the businesses fail due to bad governance, due to the problems within the owners, अगर एक से ज़्यादा owner है, due to wrong identification of the target audience, due to inability to satisfy consumer needs, due to bad execution. So these are the primary reasons businesses fail. Financial lack of financial resources is not the primary reason businesses fail. Yes, it is possible that funds dry up, and rather than going for liability model, people shut down their business कि यार जितना लग गया वो तो लग गया, अब हम कर्जा तो नहीं ले सकते. पाकिस्तान में कर्जा लेने को वैसे भी बुरा समझा जाता है बिजनेस के लिए. So impact of entrepreneurship. So the first is economic impact in the lives of the owners. Obviously, जब आप एक business start करते हैं, तो आप इसीलिए start करते हैं कि आप जॉब से ज़्यादा कमाएं और काफी ज़्यादा कमाएं. So एक तो economic impact है ओनर की अपनी जिंदगी में, ओनर की फैमिली की जिंदगी में, and also you are trying to create jobs. एक economic impact entrepreneurship का बड़ा ये भी है कि the more entrepreneurs come, the more businesses will be carried out, and the more businesses means the more jobs will be created. So the more the jobs, the better it is for the economy because unemployment will go down. So the first impact of entrepreneurship is this economic impact, and obviously you're also contributing to the GDP growth. The second is social impact. First social impact is for the entrepreneur himself or herself. Wherever he or she go, people would say yeah, he or she is doing their own business. So that adds to the social clout of the person. Clout का मतलब होता है कि जो एक social standing होती है बंदे की, उसमें वो add करता है. And second is obviously the more at times you have a certain business that it creates and generates business for the other businesses too. So वो एक सोशल कम्युनिटी बन जाती है, एक सोशल इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट हो जाता है, वेयर यू आर ट्राइंग टू not only economically help others but also socially elevate others and their statuses. Third is demographic impact. एक जमाने में समझा जाता था कि सिर्फ मर्द ही बिजनेस कर सकते हैं और औरतें सिर्फ जो स्मॉल स्केल बिजनेसेस हो सकते हैं, घर से जो बिजनेस हो सकते हैं वो कर सकते हैं. But now the dynamics have changed. Females have entered the realm of entrepreneurship and they have actually accepted entrepreneurship as their own. That now most of the female graduates, they are starting their own businesses. So एक जो demographic gap था मेल और फीमेल के numbers में, statistics में, now that gap is being bridged and number of female startups are more successful, obviously because they're lesser in numbers as compared to male startups, but the percentage of success is higher. So this shows maybe they have an eye for detailing that males do not have. Eye for detailing का मतलब ये होता है कि खवातीन जो होती हैं वो डिटेल्स के अंदर बड़ी चली जाती हैं कि जी ये चीज ऐसे होनी चाहिए, ये चीज ऐसे होनी चाहिए. Males they do have a very broader eye view, bird's eye view जिसको कहते हैं, but females they are more into detailing. So जब आप डिटेल्स में जाते हैं तो आप काफी फ्लॉस जो हैं उनको खुद ही खत्म कर देते हैं. So the entrepreneurial process, the last slide of this lecture, the entrepreneurial process consists of 4 steps. Step number 1, deciding to become an entrepreneur, which is the most difficult. The decision to become an entrepreneur is the most difficult. The rest of the stuff is easier. जब आप 4 लाख रुपए कमा रहे हो and on one fine evening you sit in your car and you decide नहीं यार, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to start my own business. This is the hardest decision. या जब आपके सारे जो क्लास फेलोज हैं, कोई 50,000 पे जाके लग रहा हो, कोई 70,000 पे लग रहा हो, कोई फैमिली बिजनेस ज्वाइन कर रहा हो, somebody is going to bank, somebody is going to a multinational, somebody is going to a local company, and you decide no, I won't do a job, I won't insure 40, 50, 60,000 in my account every month, rather I'll start my own business and I'll strive. So that is the most difficult decision. Number 2, developing successful business ideas. Once you've decided to become an entrepreneur, so the second step is to develop successful business ideas. So जब आप successful business idea की बात करते हैं, first you identify opportunities, then for every opportunity you identify ideas, then you do a feasibility analysis. If the feasibility analysis is positive, only then you start developing or adding details to the business ideas. Third is moving from an idea to an entrepreneurial firm. जब आपने एक सक्सेसफुल बिजनेस आइडिया कंसीव कर लिया which has a positive feasibility, तो फिर आप एक आइडिया से एक entrepreneurial firm में जाते हैं कि आपको क्या-क्या चीजें चाहिए होंगी एक as a company to operate as a company. And fourth is managing and growing the entrepreneurial firm. Once you have established the company, once you have made the company, then you have to manage and grow that entrepreneurial firm. So ये 4 steps हैं entrepreneurial process के. Now the question that I usually ask in my classes, अगर हम class में होते कि which do you think is the most critical part of the most critical step of the entrepreneurial process? So the answer to it is deciding to become an entrepreneur. This decision is the most critical and the most difficult. So that ends our first lecture here. If you have any questions, you can ask me on WhatsApp once I'll share this recording. If you have any issues, if you want to discuss any topic, या किसी concept में आपको मुश्किल हो रही, वैसे कोई इतने complex concepts तो नहीं है, you can always ask me on a separate WhatsApp. अगर आप group पे नहीं पूछना चाहते, you can always ask me individually. Take care of yourselves. अपनी सेहत का ख्याल रखें. अल्लाह ताला आपकी इबादत इस रमजान में कबूल करे और आपको और आपकी फैमिली को सेहत दे के आप तमाम रोजे रख सकें और इबादत कर सकें. अस्सलाम वालेकुम.